Mike.
Hello, and this is the Zooming Hoosk Podcast, and I'm your host, Dustin DaHusky,
I'm Kurdan Sourpuss.
and I'm in a cape because I'm getting groomed. I'm getting my floofs groomed.
Yes, this
Because
is a CutCast.
This is a CutCast because I don't know if some of you know, Kurdan is a cosmetologist, and he knows how to cut people's hair and groom.
As most cats do.
As most cats do when they chomp and lick and then chomp again.
I need to speak louder because the microphone is over there and it's probably not picking my voice up.
I think that actually picks up a lot of sound
Does it?
quite well. Like it picks up things that we joked about, replayed the episodes, and actually found out that a lot of the small things that we made a joke about actually did
Came
pick up.
through.
Yeah, so that's
And
not
it
an
picked
issue.
up. It picked up Pooh's voice. Okay.
Oh, it picked up your farts, man.
Oh well, that's important.
Because like you were like wondering, I wonder if that was caught on the recording.
Yeah.
And I didn't think so, and then sure as hell it did. So yeah, I think we should be fine. There is no need to really scream loud for this one. So anyway, we've got a lot to talk about because it's been a while since we had a podcast.
This is going to be interesting too because I'm going to be using Clipper, so that's going to get picked up.
Okay, well that's okay.
Maybe not. It's kind
Actually,
of low.
I don't know. It's probably a low hum.
It's a low hum.
As long as we keep talking, it'll hear us more than it'll hear it. So
For the purpose of cutting the bottom, I'm going to just dry off the neck so that I don't have wet hairs going into my.
they'll definitely hear that. So, let us talk about the music industry. Once we have this Sahara Desert. We should have done this before.
Should have. Right. There's nobody here yet anyway.
No. Or I think I'm totally blind. I can't see.
I can't. There's nobody there.
Okay. Someone will be on when they find out. So let's talk about the music industry. Let's have a conversation about that.
Let's.
So it almost felt like for a million years, no one gave a fuck about music playing out in the open. You know, you got radio, you got your CDs, you got your tapes, you got your records. You play whatever you want, whenever you want, right? Until in the last, what, you would say 10 years?
Yes.
That's in the last 10 years, YouTube had a hard-on for any time you play more than a 3-second clip of any song that you don't own.
Yep.
You can buy out a song for YouTube purposes and use that song and anything that you're using for, so as long as you give credits, as long as it's okay, or you use duty-free or public domain audio clips. But if it isn't, YouTube is going to give you 3 strikes and you're out. Sometimes they might even ban your account off the bat. All of a sudden, every single music producer has a hard on that the moment that a 5-second clip of one of their songs is being played on a video, they must bitch and piss and moan that they're not getting money for it.
Yep.
Since when did we start caring about that?
Well,
Besides
we didn't
producers.
care, but the music producers did.
Artists don't frankly care. It gives them a chance that their music is being played anyway. That's
the thing.
That's
too.
the whole point about music, is it's meant to be played.
There's a lot of artists that actually like pre-release music free for their fans to hear it.
Yeah.
Because that's a way of getting your music out there.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is the most important part of the music industry.
I just think it's kind of silly that we've reduced to the society of, oh, we have to watch our backs because the song that you play on your car radio while recording a family road trip or something like that, you put it on the air. Even now, I want to say, if you make a family road trip from 30, 40 years ago and you put it on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
it's got Billie Holiday or, David Cassidy playing in the background. Now you got YouTube up their ass for a song that from a time that it didn't really matter how it was being played.
When digital, what do you call it?
The digital conversion in 2009.
Well, when digital rights became an issue, I
Right.
should say.
And that's kind of in the late 90s when they started doing that. Really, 95 is when they really, really made that a being. But it's just, it's kind of made making videos a lot less fun. Because you could have a background music here or there. Or let's say me working on a car in the garage. Oh, all of a sudden, which I'm not monetized by any means, so to me it doesn't matter. But even non-monetized people will get their counts on a 3-strike system because they played a song that they obviously didn't. Actually, I really don't know how that would work.
I don't either.
Because on the radio stations pay for that.
Yeah.
At bars, you pay for that as a package. There's a reason why bars and radio stations do not get sued every single time they play a song. Because as a music data package that the station buys, or it's a license that they renew every year, that they have the right to play all these songs. So, what if you made a YouTube video with the radio playing in the background? You will get gigged by YouTube for having a radio station play a song that you had no control over, that was being played at the time. You get slapped with a warning. However, it's played from the radio, which in that case is already music that the radio station plays that they have the legal right to play.
Right.
But now you have this gray zone of you can't even make a video of yourself with the radio playing in the background of music that is already legally owned to be played over the radio, which is what is being happened. Like you're not playing it on your own, not on your own stereo, not on a tape or a cassette, or a disc and a cassette. They will go after you for that. But even still, on the radio, it should not matter, and it does. I literally think we're living in such a bubble society for even corporations that feel butthurt that they're not making as much money as they should, even though they make plenty of money anyway. They're screwing all they're screwing all of their employees and all the artists underneath their label anyway. That they're making good enough money that they're not hurting, but they want to make as much money as possible.
I always think about the times when I was a young poos, and I used to record music off the radio.
Yeah.
Were
with
they going
the
to come
age
and
of-
arrest me at age 8, age 9?
That's the only way to make an album out of something is you just got it off the air.
Right.
So even back then, and that's when making a mixtape, which was technically illegal because you didn't pay for the song, but honestly, is a FBI agent or a CIA, I don't know what kind of agency would come after you for copyright infringement of owning materials that you didn't really buy the customer owner right, the customer ownership rights, the copyrights, which that in itself is weird too, because as a consumer, you buy the music you're buying from that one tape or CD, right?
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to play it where it's public domain. However, the radio exists as that domain. So what is it, music industry? get rid of radio altogether and you got to buy music from you directly. There we go. But since that's not happening, it's incredibly silly that that record labels and producers are just having a shit fit because they're not making as much money as they'd like to.
Yep. That's what it comes down to, really. That's what it seems like, anyway.
But the moment you play, yeah, it's like with mixtapes. You make a mixtape over the air.
Yep.
No one's going to come bust in through your front door and take your mixtape or slap you with a $250,000 fine because...
Copyright infringement.
Do we know of anyone that's actually done that, where they got busted?
No idea.
I don't know a single person on the planet that has been busted for, besides maybe pirating movies the old-fashioned way. But even still, once someone has a movie recorded, it normally gets streamed anyway, right?
Yeah.
So what difference does it make anymore? We're living in a day and age where pirating is just the way to go because you know what? People are fed up of paying for service that is kind of substandard or just absolutely terrible. I'm not sure if that's you, Alpha. I'm kind of blind, but hello. Cat is also blind.
It's Alpha.
Hello, Alpha.
Hey,
I'm getting my trim. I'm getting my floofs trimmed, not my trimmed floofs. We're talking about the music industry and how YouTube will crack down on any YouTuber that does not have their credentials in order when it comes to playing music as a background.
Copyrights.
Yeah, it's all silly to me. I should just do like Hoosk things and just start wiggling around.
No.
And just hit the muzzle me.
No.
So I think we kind of talked enough about the music industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then what is the next subject? Because we got a lot of subjects to actually talk about. So unless maybe Alpha's saying something, I can't read. It's all blur. I'm special, Hoosk.
it does sound silly.
Yes. He's just agreeing with this. It sounds silly.
Yeah, it's just YouTubers get strikes because they play a 3-second clip of a song, but I mean, they're not making money off of it, and if they are, it's normally for the content that they're making. Anyway, what is the next subject?
So actually, I have one other thing about that I've come across that just dawned on me. I watch
For
a lot
music.
of Let's Players that have video games that have music in them. And the people that make these games are not the ones getting struck with these copyright claim issues.
Yeah.
It's the person who's doing a Let's Play video on it.
It's not fair for them.
That doesn't even make sense. They're not the ones that put the music in the game.
No.
They're just reviewing the game, and they're the ones that are going to take the hit for it. That guy that I always watch, John Wolf, that plays all the scary games,
Mm-hmm.
he gets copyright claims for games that people put together. He's not even the one that made the games.
Yeah, the system's fully broken.
It is.
Frankly, it does not deserve to be redone or rethought. It just does not need to be. It's just one way of kind of ruining a person's livelihood.
Yeah. I blame Google for this. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
YouTube was fine before they got their hands in
Yep.
the pie.
It's kind of like with COPA. Now, I understand what COPA is there for. It's to protect the children, but honestly, children probably shouldn't deserve to be on the internet as far as being on a social aspect, although they say after a certain age you could. But on the internet, you'll learn a lot of things. Even whether or not you're on any social media site, which you really shouldn't be on until you're 18, because frankly, it's just a liability. But kids do it anyway, because you know why? No one's going to tell them what to really do anymore.
And parents don't know enough to monitor these kids when they're online.
And the ones that do absolutely what's the word? Dawdle, or the ones that coddle their kids and such.
Yeah.
You know what? These kids are gonna find stuff on the internet anyway.
Yep.
But with like YouTube and such, they make it a big deal that if you have a kid in your video, you got to get their permission or this and that, or if it's safe for work for kids. You know what? No. You know what YouTube used to be? Is 10-second dumb videos from 15 years ago.
People doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
A lot of fail videos, as we call them now. Nowadays.
That's the glory of YouTube, is it's just meant to be random fun.
Yep.
Even organized random fun, or just interesting stuff in a documentary or something educational or entertainment wise. It's actually grown up to something that is quite beautiful. It's just Google's really ruining the whole platform to the point that a lot of people aren't sure whether if they want to stay on YouTube or not. A lot of them will, because it's the only thing that people will still use. Even if YouTube becomes the most evil thing on the planet, people are still going to use it, because there isn't a better service that is being well used to be that with that level of engagement. And it's been around for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, it's been around 16 years. About 2005 is when the first YouTube video came out, I think.
Yep.
Do you remember what YouTube used to look like?
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of kids these days don't know what YouTube used to look like.
It's changed many times over the years.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it's good user-friendly stuff, and a lot of it's just cosmetic, just to get with the times, which that's another thing I don't like. And that's just a small rant, is websites changing things around. Often enough that they'll change every other year because they're bored.
Yep.
It seems like a software engineer's wet dream to redesign Facebook to get a raise. And then someone else will come along and say, well, I can do this too. Because I seriously believe that a lot of these websites are bored out of their minds.
Oh, yeah. They have way too much money to spend. Remember the remodel for Affinity?
Yes.
That never happened?
That never happened in 2010. It was supposed to happen for the summer of 2010. The current look of for Affinity right now is the beta version of April 10th of 2010. They promised the entire site that a new site would happen. Never has. And never will. So again, it's sites wanting to change the design of sites. And to be honest, it saves money. And it is just more common sense to use the same site if it works. Why bother changing it?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Look at Wikipedia.
Never
A perfect
changed.
example of it's never changed once. And it's perfect for it. It's absolutely perfect for it. And back in the day when Wikipedia was a thing, that just began to be a thing, we were told in school to not use Wikipedia because it's not a good first source. You know what? In high school and in college, it's an acceptable first source now. Because it's become so grown up in its own right of website maturity and such like that. And people, they are paying moderators to make sure that the information that is updated is correct. They're paying people for that. So in a sense, Wikipedia is becoming a very respectable site. And the site format's never changed as far as I know, right? I don't think it's ever changed once.
If it has, it's very little, tiny little.
Probably functionability more than just looks. I think
Probably.
They just keep it just for the sake of keeping it the same. I can appreciate that. Sometimes when you change a site, things are so discombobulated. Not just that, but they might get rid of a useful feature that they didn't think was useful. It's like with when Yifstar became so furry, then all of a sudden it became a clean website because now you can't even find porn on it.
I'm so furry?
You could, but for some reason I can't find it.
Hmm.
But
I haven't been on that website in so long.
remember when YifStar had a nice categorized file system? It's the same thing what E621 is using. However, E621 is disorganized. You have to type it in on what you want. YifStar, you literally tagged whatever you wanted, and you got what you found.
Yeah.
That was the beauty of it. You found porn of what you wanted immediately without looking for very long. E621 is okay, but it's not as perfect as YifStar. There's a lot that E621 could learn from YifStar. Anyway, let's go to the next subject. And then you get a chance. Kurdan,
Yes.
spray the Hoosk face.
Oh.
Spray the Hoosk face. Spray the Hoosk face.
What?
Spray.
Again?
Well, spray, not blow.
Huh?
Spray with water.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting to that. I thought you were talking about loose hairs.
No. Yeah. And then I bite at the water. All right. So what is our next subject?
Our next subject. God, embarrassing. My subject. What did I do at work?
What did you do at work?
My what's stink so bad?
Oh, your farts. Oh, okay. It always
So,
comes to that.
It does come to that.
It always comes to
we've
that.
Literally come down to.
We are a shitty podcast.
the
All right, so let's
literally
actually talk about it. Let's not just talk about the farts. Let's actually talk
So-
about what's going on.
so
Okay.
What's going on is that number one, I fart all over my store, and it propels me around the store.
Yes, this is obvious.
What's not so obvious is that one time when I farted, it actually it feels so weird to even say it on podcast, but it
You shit
tickled.
Oh,
It tickled my butthole. My own fart tickled my butthole.
how is that even possible? It's just a guess.
It came out so well that it tickled my butt.
Wow. So actually, so that fart had a beard. That
Or I was the fart's beard.
or you were the fart's beard. You are a strange cat.
My
Don't really have anything to
add to that.
add to that. I just find it funny that your fart tickled your butthole. That's funny.
Apparently, it means I haven't had sex in too long. Maybe that's what it says.
Maybe. I have no idea.
I've forgotten what sex feels like.
Same. Well, now that we talked about that,
Let's move on.
yes.
I misspelled this, but the DHC
Oh yeah.
topic
So
we were going to talk about.
all right. So as we all know, don't hook cacti or DHC. You know, there's been some controversy regarding. I forget exactly what, if it was child grooming or
It was
animal
child grooming.
endangerment or something like that.
From what I recall, it was child grooming.
Okay. And we all know that's really, really bad. That's not acceptable. However, there are people in the fandom that are going after DHC suitors or like harassing them and such of how can you support this company after knowing all this? Has anyone harassed you about your suit?
No.
Right.
Most people don't even recognize it as a DHC suit.
That's probably a good thing.
But in my defense, I will always just say, when I bought the suit, none of this had come to fruition yet.
When did you get your suit?
Like 2000?
No.
No.
2014.
Was it? What was it?
You got it in like October, November of 2014.
So I've had the suit.
6 years.
No.
7. Actually, longer.
Almost 8 years.
Yeah.
No, I think it's almost a 10-year-old suit. I got it in 2013. I think I commissioned them in 2012.
That's news to me. I actually thought you got it for
because I got
MFF 2014, which you didn't go because you were waiting for a suit. You got it in December of 2014.
That's right. I got it in 2014.
Still,
either way, it's over 8 years old now.
And this is at a time when no one knew what was going on with this maker.
Right. Only thing people knew about DHC was that they made cute suits.
Right. And there are new people who are getting their suits just now are currently being harassed. And you know what? That kind of bugs me because, these poor furries that have commissioned this maker did so at a time before they knew what was going on.
Yep.
And a lot of them are stating that fact that, look, before you go after me, this is a quote, like a quoted tweet. Before you go after me about the suit that I commissioned, or that I got commissioned.
Oh, I love that. I love that I kept the front lawn. It's so great. We're definitely channeling your inner what do you call him?
Hoosk.
Precious Bean.
Precious Bean.
Yep, you're going to be a Tom Holland beaner.
So this one cute lion tiger fursuit or fursona has to make a tweet announcing that they're getting their suit, and since it's from DHC, not to be harassed by it because they had commissioned their suit at a time before the allegations and the controversy had come out.
Yes.
Because I really don't know what the status of what's going on with DHC right now. We just know that there are damaged goods that people don't want to do business with. But you still have outstanding fursuits in commission before the controversy that you still have to do. You've taken people's money. It's more expensive to be giving people their money back than it is to make a fursuit. Because you know why? They cease to exist as a company, which for those wanting their suits, they don't get their suits because they don't have the material, which they should be better at doing that anyway. But I feel it's unfair for those who got suit from a maker that is fallen from grace and such like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair for the person who commissioned the suit because they didn't know. And I don't know. I find it kind of shitty that people will treat those differently
because they got it from them. And
a lot of a lot of their suitors have totally dissociated from DHC. I know DHC, like a lot of other makers, have a little customized tag that they put on their fursuit heads, kind of like a plush toy.
Yeah.
A lot of them have actually thrown that tag out. They've unstitched it and thrown it in the trash and taken pictures of it.
Wow.
Even DaHusky, with his suit, and he is a 2-time DHCer.
Who's DaHusky again?
He's a furry from Illinois.
I probably know him.
Probably. But anyway, even he has unstitched his tag from his suit, from his 3.0 suit from DHC, and threw it in the trash and even actually made a statement about it. You can love the suit you have, but you can hate the maker. Right. Sometimes, unfortunately, that can happen. So when you see someone with a fursuit from a specific maker, please don't harass them. It's not cool.
Yeah.
They spent nearly $3,000 to $5,000 of their own money to get their character created. Do not shit on people because they got their suit from a maker that they didn't know what was going on. I'd be more concerned about the people who got their suits during that time or after that time.
Even then, you know what? Here's the thing about that. Just because things happen does not mean you're supporting what they did.
Right.
You just want, the suit for the suit, not because, I love them because they
Did bad things.
Did bad things to minors or was grooming minors.
It's just once that bad negative information goes out, it's safer to stay away from a sinking ship than trying to get on board it.
Yeah.
Even though that you've never been on the ship before, if you're on this ship, you have the choice to go down with it or to jump off.
Yep.
But if you're not even from the sinking ship, it's not smart to be jumping on a sinking ship knowing that you're going down with it.
It's not too hot, is it?
No, I'm just trying to get comfy.
I understand.
Yeah, the front's still a little. Yeah, that's gonna go right in my eye. Yeah.
Okay. I can still trim it.
So, yeah. Please don't be a dick to people who paid a lot of money to have a suit made by someone that normally takes 2 or 3 years time to get through. It's not cool for the fursuiter themselves. It's not fair for them. I'm not sure what Alpha is saying, because I see Alpha has said some things I just can't read.
Strange but silly. Oh yeah, I saw that tweet. Y'all are doing well. We're doing well. The Hoosk is being very good and sitting very still.
Oh yes, I am not being a terror yet. I have not shaken once.
No, a regular Husky definitely would have by now.
Oh yeah, they will scream. They do not like the sound of "I'm coming."
And if they're being stopped from zooming, they do not like it either.
You have anything else to add about something like that?
Not really. Let's move on.
Okay.
You have something that you had me write down. I have no idea what this is about, so I'll just say it. Mask holes.
Mask holes. All right, so you know how we live in the pandemic, and
oh God, I know what you're gonna say.
we have customizable fursuit head mask thingies that even some fursuit makers are printing on safe medical cloth that is good for mask material, is making special printings of your fursona's face as your mask. So, for some reason, while alone on my bus, which is when I get the weirdest thoughts, I decided to create mask holes. Create a butthole of your fursona in the shape of a mask. Just wide cheeks, just asshole and tail and butt cheeks and such like that. And then you're like, hey, I've got a customized fursuit face thing. I'm terrified to open my eyes.
Don't. Keep them closed for a minute. Hold on, I'm almost done.
I will scream.
You can scream, just don't move it. Okay, I'm gonna blow.
So mask holes. Show your asshole to the world on your face. Mask holes. You're going to a convention and you want to show off? Mask holes. Show off that ass. Without showing your ass. And without pulling out your phone to show art of your ass. Is it safe to open eyes?
Yeah. How's that length? Better?
Oh, perfect.
Out of the eyes.
So I'm thinking like a scrunchie for like the butthole. You could put a straw through it, sip on a drink or whatnot. You want to eat some fries, put it through the asshole into your mouth.
You're so strange.
Mask holes.
You're so weird.
You wanna French kiss the person who's wearing a mask hole?
Give it
You
to the mask
sure
hole.
can. It's like eating his ass, but you're really kissing his face. Mask holes.
You're so weird.
Trademarked and registered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah. Oh wait, now that's a good party gag where you're wearing two masks. You got one of a husky face and like, oh hey, it's Dustin. Oh wait a minute, I pull off the first mask and it's just my persona's ass. It's like, oh, it's Dustin. Oh, and it's his butt. Oh, silly Dustin. In this universe, I'm very, very silly.
That's good too.
I don't know. It's like it's just one of those things where I just come up like, wow, someone needs to make money off this.
I'm the Ed McMahon to your Johnny Carson. That is weird, wild stuff.
What are your thoughts about mask holes?
I want one. I want many. I want all the holes and all the masks.
Aw, that's a cat hole. Aw. Aw, and he's shoving a hot dog in it. Aw.
Would you allow me to trim up the beard?
Sure.
Clean up the neck beard?
Sure. Yeah, may as well. So imagine this. You're in a free sex party, okay? Someone's pounding your ass, and someone is pounding your face with your persona's ass on it.
Okay.
That's double the amount of butt sex going on.
That sounds very hot.
Dude, I wanted to fuck his ass, but wait, he's wearing a mask hole. Oh, I have a chance.
Mask hole advantage. Should we move on to the next subject?
Sure thing.
This is a good one, but I'm going to start talking because you can't talk while I'm doing this because you move too much and mess me up.
Okay.
So the subject is productivity and getting stuff done. I, as well as you, have been getting stuff done. I'm going to touch on my stuff, leave your stuff for you. I've just been getting a lot of stuff done in the games that I've been playing and in real life. Most recently, and I know this is another subject we're going to be talking about, but I'm going to integrate it, this subject and the other. I already got my W-2s, and I've already completed my tax return. It's already been accepted and approved, and they're processing the refund already.
And how much is the Poos getting back?
A little over $3,000.
Little over 3,000. That's a pretty good amount. Yeah, I'm gonna get my taxes done through TurboTax because you know what? I don't trust my dad.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I love your dad, but unfortunately, we're gonna do it the Poos way this time and get it done right and fast. Because like that stupid commercial, it's my money and I want it now.
J.G. Wentworth,
Is that really,
877 cash now.
is that really the same commercial?
I have no idea. That's just what I thought.
I just know I keep seeing that commercial where it's my money and
Use
I
it when
want
you
it
need it.
now.
Yeah.
It's Alpha's money and Alpha wants it
I
now.
need a cash settlement, but no. I have cash annuity, but I need cash now. And I'm a bus. Little Viking bus. Yeah. Yeah, productivity. Something I haven't really been able to do in the last year because crazy job hours, but now I've decided
Not
to take
just. Thank you, COVID. Let's fuck everybody's lives up.
right. But I'm going to say it for 2021. I really think that my job has really taken over much of my waking life. as it is. Except I get a day out of it.
Not just as jobs do. I mean, all
Right.
jobs. Let's face it. Jobs always take up.
But
everyone's lives.
while I haven't gotten much done last year, but then again, too, depression and no motivation doesn't help either. However, I've decided to get some things done. And you know what?
What did you get done?
Actually, I'm just getting stuff done left and right. Every Thursday, just hanging out with my dad and grandpa. We just work on stuff in the garage of just getting things done. It's nice to actually put a few hours in the morning away to do something, because it actually feels really nice to get something done, like playing with some field radios, or no, some field telephones.
What did you get done most recently?
So I did a lot of car work the past week.
Yeah.
So I replaced all of the incandescent bulbs in the interior of the car to LED. Because I figure
Quite an undertaking, isn't it?
Right. I kind of never want to go into a car more than once for something, especially if it's interior work. So I'd rather get stuff done the first time, like, I want to do car and interior stuff first time correct all the time, so that I never have to go back into it again, or at least not for a very long time. And with that, I replaced all the light bulbs that actually in reality wasn't hard to change out, but it was nice to get them done and out of the way so I never have to think about them again, thus increasing the longevity and durability of certain items on a car that I just never have to think twice about again. It's just a really fun thing.
Yeah, it feels good to get these things done too.
Oh, yeah. And I had a friend rebuild the radio for me. Now the radio works absolutely flawless.
Meaning what?
Literally the whole thing, just like the whole radio had to be redone. It was just garbage.
What was working before?
Just the radio part.
I thought it was the tape.
No, the tape deck wasn't working. Well, turned out not just the tape deck still didn't work, but eventually some things leaked acid through one of the electrolytic capacitors from back then, which aren't really good.
I didn't know that.
You need, it's better to rebuild them with ceramic when you can, because that way, you know, your radio will always keep working. And these GM Delco radios are pretty robust. But mine had finally bit the dust when the exploded capacitors, the DM165s, are just notorious to eventually give out at some point. And they're on the amp board, and they eventually just chewed right through the traces, and my radio just became unoperational. So I had a friend who decided to rebuild me a whole radio from scratch while using the front faceplate and the buttons of the existing radio, and literally just reshelled the radio. So I have the same aesthetic of the old radio, but with new radio guts.
That's awesome.
And it actually sounds incredible. And you've seen it. You've actually heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds pretty good. But also, I decided to tackle the instrument cluster, which on a Cavalier is incredibly easy to do. Except you have to go through underneath the dash. You have to drop the steering column, which is very easy to do on those cars. I actually discovered I can actually take the cluster out and not have to drop the column totally down.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy to know that I just had to drop it by around 1.5 inches just to get the cluster out.
And who helped you put it back together?
So I thought maybe I could get it back together once I had everything changed out, until the speedometer cable, which I had to unplug from the back of the cluster, which is literally a braided cable.
Let's do this real quick. Hoosk is doing very good.
I want to zoom.
Almost there. My hair's going numb from the buzz. I want to scream too. Almost.
This is one very exciting podcast. There is much more going on. I actually like this part. It's relaxing.
Oh, good.
I like the feel of the razor just nibbling on Hoosk floof. So,
Look up.
he is powdering the Hoosk floofs.
So no razor burn.
So, yes. Make
You can even see it on camera.
antique me. Aw.
Antiquing. That's definitely something else that I want to try doing someday.
That would be funny.
They're like, what is antiquing? You take the finest, wonderful white powder from Colombia. You taste a little bit and then you put it in your friend's face. Then you make an antique.
Oh, look at him. He is old. He is so old. So,
My horrible French accent there.
it's actually pretty good. It's pretty believable compared to some. So, I struggled for one whole hour trying to get this 3/4 wide plug to reconnect back to the back of the cluster where the speedometer cable meets the speedometer drum, which then tells you what speed you're going at. Well, I couldn't get the stupid thing to go back in. So I tried massaging the cable.
Ooh, massage.
I tried to get as much length out of it. Massage the length out.
Massage.
Oh,
Massage.
massage. And guess what? Not a single inch was gained. I actually could not stretch the thing out. So then I decided to grab a set of what is that tool? It's not a clamp. They're more like pliers, but they're not pliers.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
I'm pretty bad with the. I'm good with working with tools. I'm bad with the names of some of them.
Me
Yeah.
too.
To me, I just use them and I don't have to think too much about
them. It wasn't like a vice, was it?
No, it's not a vice grip.
But you were kind of using it as a vice grip.
Right. However,
it looked like a plier or like not a needle nose. Whatever.
Anyway, so there is very little room working behind the cluster, and the tool is not as long as the cluster from the cable where it connects into the outside of the cluster. It was literally within the cluster size, and my hand is so small, but yet it's so big in this area that I was running out of options. I tried to push it in, but the problem is I didn't have enough finger strength to push the cable back on. So then I got desperate. I thought, okay, I don't know what to exactly do. I'm going to see if I can just push the cluster into the cable. That didn't work. Then I got smart and said, wait a minute. What happens if I held the cable from underneath, prevent it from moving back on itself, and have someone push on the cluster back onto the cable? And that's where Poos came along. I had then... the Poos shocked me.
I'm going to blow hair off. Hold on.
Dog things. So I've been working yesterday from 1 o'clock to 6:30. I had been working in the interior of his car in about 20-degree heat. Well, 20-degree cold.
You feel any hair on you?
Nah, it feels pretty good. So for about 5 hours, I'm cold. I'm hungry. I didn't really eat anything. I only had 1 cup of coffee to start the whole day with. So really, I'm just running on fumes, kind of not fed up. I felt very accomplished. I felt really good that I got as far as I did and was as successful as I have been. But in order to put everything back together, this cable has to go back on. Otherwise, I don't have speed on the cable. The cable will still spin, but it won't read on the cluster. So I decided to concoct a plan and thought, if I crawled underneath the dashboard and held the cable firmly in place, if I can get Kurdan to come upstairs and push on the cluster right where the nub of the cluster where the cable meets and the cluster boss itself and clips in, it might push its way onto that clip and then, hook it up. So I came down here and say, hey, Kurdan, I really need your help. It's not what I thought the help was going to be, but I definitely need your help on something. You may want to get dressed up warmly. So I thought this
Old
might
garage.
take, yes, this garage is not insulated by any means.
It's very cool. I was thinking about blocking those windows off even.
I was thinking of just putting curtains on it, just to.
Right. Because here's the thing. I was thinking about this too.
Because windows are a sure way for heat to escape.
Not just. When there's light coming in from somewhere else, you can see right into your garage.
Yeah.
And those windows are not fully, I'm not going to say they're tinted, but if there's no light inside, you cannot see in the garage.
Right.
If there's light coming in from another window, it illuminates everything in that room.
I kind of just want to get shades.
Yeah,
and
that's a great idea.
just putting shades on the
Don't even
windows.
have to- something simple. You just pull down. That would be great.
Well, actually, it's like those shades for the rooms where you just strip
Yeah.
something
pull it down.
something cheap just to cover the window and just leave it as such, because it's a nice security thing. So
I dropped this comb. I left it on the ground because once
you drop something, you don't use it.
I don't use it again. It goes into.
So, let me finish this story. So I had Kurdan outside, and I showed him what he needed to do. He did that. And I told him, okay, I want you to push on the left side of this cluster, because that's where the cable is going to be. I'm going to go underneath and hold the cable, and then hopefully it'll clip together.
Mhm.
So I got on my back. I crawled underneath the car, or at least underneath the dashboard. I held the cable in place, and I just said, okay, I'm set, ready when you are. You pushed it, and then all of a sudden, a snap happened.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that was a good snap because that's probably the metal clip clipping onto the cable boss of the speedometer cable. And guess what? I tried pushing the cluster away. It would not move. That meant that the cable had secured itself to the cluster. So Mechanic Cat has come to the rescue of making my afternoon so much more easier. Because you know what? It barely took me, since I told you it might take me about 30 minutes to get things done. How long did it actually take me? Because
With me there?
well, it took 5 minutes one time. I wish I would have done that an hour sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to put everything back together, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think that took before I came back downstairs?
10 minutes, if that.
Oh, so it actually didn't take long for me to put everything back together again.
Once you had that thing in, you were basically done.
And then I just had to put the radio back in, bolt the cluster back in, bolt the bezel back in, and bolt the column back up, and that was just set to go.
Yeah.
I still need to have the hush panel off the car because I want to do the cruise control switch. But beyond that, the interior is fully done.
Mm-hmm.
It feels good to be accomplishing something productive, getting something done, and then having it worked. Because I can tell you this much. I've done so many things in life to be productive, and it would break or would not work when I get it working again.
Mm-hmm.
There has been many chances in time where I would work on something and nothing worked. amazing when everything works the way it's intended and it's not fighting you. It's nice that it happens like that.
brushing a floof, the floof of a hoosk.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't want to be brushed. He
Oh,
wants
yes.
to zoom.
He just wants to zoom.
So you got that done.
All right.
You want to check it?
Check what the
Your
chat.
haircut.
Oh yeah, that's quite nice. I do like it. All right, so let's see. Dye his hair blue or green.
Why not both?
Why not both? I now dye it white, blue, and then green, and then
Oof.
really
That's going to be rough.
what, the white?
Yeah.
Oh, because white's a pretty hard color to dye.
Yes.
Oh,
Unless we just paint your head. We could just paint it.
sure.
And
Oh,
then
it's a taco cat. Hello, taco cat.
Hi, Taco Cat. Do you want your haircuts?
Yes, the cat will cut other cats' haircut.
I will cut your hairs.
And thank you, Alpha. I'm looking fabulous. So why don't you get your computer chair out, because I'm standing on a
I don't mind
stool.
standing for now.
Okay.
I'm gonna back
So-
in eventually, too.
To pretty much tie up with my story of productivity, it's nice to finally be productive for once in so long. It is just incredibly, it feels amazing to start whittling away at the list of things I wanted to get done. Because once it's done, I never have to worry about it, which means eventually I'll have a shorter list. I have less to do. I can enjoy my time off, not
Yep.
doing anything. Because
Definitely.
I have a large list of things to do that sitting still for any long time, I feel guilty of not getting to any of it. So to me, it feels good to be working on stuff, getting it done, and then feeling accomplished by doing that. Ooh, I have a water. I'm gonna do a sip. What are some things you have gotten to lately that is being productive, Poos?
Well, I already talked about them. Taxes and all that other stuff. I was going to actually move on to a stripper pole highway driving on Chicago tollways.
Oh, okay. So apparently this thing has reached the internets. If you haven't seen it, I don't know where you would look for it, but search online
Stripper
on
pole limo.
stripper pole limo, and it is a abandoned, discarded limousine in a forest with a stripper pole bolted to the trunk lid. And you know what's the most amazing question that's not being asked about any of this? Is that the trunk lid is green, which means it's not even the original trunk lid, which means someone danced on that limo, broke the pole, and the owner said,
I need this pole back on.
we need this pole back on. Find me another trunk lid. Got another trunk lid, bolted it on, and then continued dancing. You know what? This is something amazing. We need to do this. We need to get a limousine, strap and bolt a pole, a stripper pole, on the trunk lid.
Mm-hmm.
We drive around with a stripper dancing his or her heart out while in motion.
Okay.
80 miles an hour, dancing around, swirling, causing as many accidents because you know what? Dancing. Going through a drive-through. You know what? I want 20 cheeseburgers and 14 fries
For my stripper.
for my stripper.
Yep.
And then as they're getting their food, they're paying for it, they drive off, and then through the checkout window, it's just like, woo, just driving by. Then you own a limo. You want it to be clean. Take it through a to a car wash with the stripper still dancing.
Yes.
Now that you have your nice clean car, she can now lather up with shampoo and then drive another 80 miles an hour to hair dry the floof.
Yes.
You know what? Stripper pole on a limousine, not in, on, is maybe the most beautiful thing I have ever heard.
And
most mysterious because we don't even know where it came from or how it came about. But this individual, wherever you are a legend now because you had someone dance on your car, destroy your car, and then rebuild it.
And it made it so far that who was contacted to recreate
Oh, yeah.
for
So apparently,
This is how I found out about it.
oh yeah. So now furries have invaded this subject now.
Of course.
Cooper Tom was then, who is an amazing creator for VR worlds.
Yep.
Many different worlds. Yugo Dealership, Haunted House, or something like that. He makes a lot of amazing, cool VR worlds that are just well detailed, and he doesn't put much time into it. That's just the incredible bit. You think someone spent a whole week doing that? No.
It spends a couple hours, if that.
Maybe a whole day doing something, and it just looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Then someone contacted him and say, hey, we need to recreate this in VR world. Then he said, sure. 2 hours later, he's got a stripper pole on a limousine in exactly the same way that it is pictured. The hood dented up, the front end smashed in, green trunk lid, and a stripper pole.
And somebody's avatar already dancing on it.
And there's already someone's avatar already dancing on said stripper pole. You know what? I better hope whenever someone in the VR world is dancing on that thing, I really hope someone in the middle of the forest who finds this car is also dancing on it too.
I hope so.
At the same time.
I hope whoever took the original pictures of it tried dancing on it for a bit. Because they should have taken like a picture or had someone get up there and dance and taken a picture of them dancing on it. I would have. Moving on, because we don't have a whole lot of time. I mean,
we could have another hour. It's pretty early on in the day, but
First Squared, is it or isn't it going to happen?
And I hope it does.
I hope it does too, because we both super sponsored, and I really, really need this con.
I really need this con too.
I had a good taste of it at MFF, which was probably my like quickest last minute planning and going to. I mean, I Ubered my way there, for God's sakes.
After work,
I took off an extra day
to be there.
Just to get there on Friday afternoon.
No, Thursday, right?
No, I was gonna come in Saturday afternoon, stay overnight, and then come home Sunday. I ended up coming in on Friday right after work.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to Chicago by like 3:30, and then went home Sunday. What time did I go? I had to check out at like noonish.
Right.
So I had to go home. So I left MFF around 11, 12 o'clock.
That was on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. So I basically had 2 solid days, a half a day, because I did go back down to the convention center on Sunday.
Right.
Sunday morning was super disappointing because everybody was still sleeping and recovering from partying Saturday night,
and a lot of consuming of edibles, which I'm sure a lot of people crossfaded.
But there were enough people down there, and I was able to talk to people that were maybe not so happy about the things that transpired. So they were the forgotten few. So I was there to cheer them up as Pup Kurdan, which was fun. I enjoyed it. But yeah, Emma, First Square needs to happen,
and I'm hoping it to happen too, because I've got, I think I have 4 panels, which is the most I've ever done for a convention. I think it's 4.
Which 4 are they?
That is, or maybe it's 3. I think it's only 3. It's film photography,
right,
reenacting, and the podcast.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if I want to do a 4th. Probably not.
The 4th would have been me in doing boxes.
The 4th one would have been scheduled by me for you for Cats and Boxes. If I fits, I sits.
Not just Cats and Boxes, fursuiters in boxes.
So actually, the title will still be If I Fits, I Sits.
Without the limited to just cats.
Right.
I want to be,
which I think that'd be the
inclusive to all suitors of all species.
I'd say I would start collecting as many large boxes as you can, cut them down, and then just before we start taping them up to be full boxes, and we just boom.
I have so many.
Yeah, I would say
every day we have so many. Like I can get them literally the day before.
I would still collect some even before then, but
Okay.
That would be a fun panel.
It's going to be a lot of boxes down here.
Dude, it'd be amazing. A lot of damaged boxes
I'll be
because
living in boxes probably.
I think that'd be pretty fun. It's just I could really use another convention.
Yeah.
Even if things for 2022 may go downhill.
I think
as-
we all could. I think we all could use another convention.
Not to say I don't want more conventions to happen for the rest of the year, but if it were to be where cons coming back, pandemic still not doing so well, let's say by April or May, this doesn't still go away, it's still a problem.
Yeah.
Conventions might still, or their hotel contracts might say, hey, look, this isn't safe. We're not doing this for this year. We'll do it for next year.
Right.
Unless that happens, I'm just hoping there'll be more conventions that we can go to. But if things really go down, like down south, I would rather like to go to First Squared.
Yep. At least let that happen.
People are doubtful it's going to happen, but I keep asking them, is this on your perspective of the pandemic, or is it from the Constaff Hotel perspective of the pandemic? Because those are two different things.
Yeah.
There's people who are going to attend, but not. It's okay if you don't want to attend during a pandemic. You and I attended just fine, never got sick because we all wore masks. Masks do help. Vaccinations do help. You do need to have some fun because eventually it's just going to drive you insane.
Yep.
But it would suck that it would suck for another year to not go to another convention.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done that in 10 years, and I'd rather not want to do that. But you kind of have to do what you got to do. And I haven't gone to a single convention in almost nearly 2 years. I kind of don't want to go back to that habit of doing a convention every 2 years. It's just not fun. It's good to see friends. It's good to see people. It's good to go get out of your community, go somewhere else, have fun, just to escape reality and such like that. So, I don't know. It's a pretty good idea. I am hoping for the best that, First Squared will happen. Many other conventions will also happen. I'm just hoping it doesn't cancel last minute.
Me too.
You want me to? Here, I'm going to move.
Sure. We're literally standing and sitting in husky floofs.
Oh yeah, it's like a dog exploded, not in that way.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're actually showing the floofs.
I might as well. Floofs.
Floofs.
Oh, and microphone.
Okay.
My floofs.
Yeah. So I'm just really hoping that we have hotel. I don't know if you really need to do that. That thing picks up quite
No,
well.
I'm just trying to get off camera.
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just hoping that First Square does happen. Have some fun.
Yes.
And do some panels. Do something fun. I kind of want to do my own schedule. I kind of want to be on my own schedule. I may as well just do some panels, hang out with friends, maybe go to a few panels, and that's it. I am a very panelist centric person, and you know this.
I do.
But I also notice that sometimes you do need time for yourself and time for your friends, and sometimes you're better off spending some time with your friends when you can. You're not sure if you may get that chance again. Sometimes your friends live far away, so you're better off hanging out with friends, go to panels together, or just hang out and just kind of have fun that way. Fursuit a lot, because if you have a fursuit, you may as well use it. But me being a panelist, I do like running panels. I would not mind running a few more. It's just, yeah, to me, I could always keep myself busy doing that, because otherwise I could be twiddling my thumbs. But at a convention, that's so rare, because I've always got something better to do than just twiddling my thumbs. So maybe that's not a problem that I have anyway. There are some people that do go to a convention that don't have an idea of what to do with themselves when they're there. I feel like you're just planning for disaster or depression, that you're there at a convention to have fun. A lot of people go to a convention for a lot of things, but if you're going to a convention and you don't plan on doing anything to it, you're not going to have a lot of fun. But you put yourself in that situation if you did. You want to be out, you go out and about, make friends, see old friends, go do panels, do something fun.
Yep.
But I would not recommend going to a con and not do anything at, because then you might scare yourself from ever going to another convention again, because now you're going to associate you've gone to a convention and you had no fun. You have no interest of going to any because of that one experience. And that's not fair to yourself. But you really got to get yourself out there if you want to really enjoy the merits of a convention. Because there's much more to a convention than just sitting in your room. So that is a cat with a McDonald's bag over its head. So what's the next subject? Unless you have something else to add about.
I really don't. I need this con to happen. I want it to happen. I want to be a pup, and I want to be fluffy and stupid, and
I want to go to a lot of funny panels.
And I want to go swimming. No, wait, we don't have a pool.
Yeah. Yes.
We do have a pool?
Yeah.
Wait.
It's not a hot tub, it is a pool.
At
First Square? Yeah.
We do have a pool.
Yeah.
We do.
You lost your phone at the pool and someone found it at the front desk, or they gave it to the front desk.
I thought it was IFC.
No, this was First Squared. You got scared. We went to the front desk and said, "Oh, someone did turn in a phone," and it was your phone.
Did we? Yeah. That's right.
Yep.
We do have a pool, and I want to go swimming.
Yep.
But not in fursuit.
I mean, obviously, that's a bit difficult to do.
Yeah. I've seen people do it, and no, that's a lot of money to. Our first jobs.
Oh yeah, so our first jobs. So I worked at a costuming warehouse for like Halloween supplies and party supplies and whatnot as my first job.
That was your first job.
By Seasons, BUY Seasons. Also controls Party City and all the other subsidiaries. And they're literally birthday party, and Halloween centered. It was pretty fun, actually, for being a first job. We had scooters in the factory. Because this is a huge, huge place. And it's so big, in order to fulfill orders as quick as you can, you were given scooters and hope you didn't get nailed by any of the forklifts.
How old were you?
Oh, I was 16. It was fun. You meet a lot of good people. Then you meet a lot of insane people there too.
Sure.
So that was eye-opening, that there were some people that literally screamed at you for no reason.
Yeah.
It was not a bad job, and you know what? It was when the minimum wage increased from $6.25 to $7.25. That's how long ago that's been. So when I heard about the wage increase to $1 up to $7.25, I was so happy. As a 16-year-old, it's like, wow, I have so much money. I'm 28 now, so a lot has changed. Things are a lot more expensive, and $7.25 is pitiful.
Yeah.
But for a 16-year-old, as his first Hoosk job, it wasn't bad. They paid for gas, paid for insurance, and for the one con a year, that was MFF.
My first job.
What was first Hoosk job?
I was 15 years old. My grandmother worked at a drugstore / post office.
Whoa, dude, that's wild.
/ candy store and everything else.
That's amazing.
And I was hired.
This wasn't USPS either.
No.
Okay, all right.
It was just a local drugstore. I mean, it had a pharmacy in it. It had a beauty counter. It had a candy front register area for newspapers and people that were just coming in to get their daily read and all that. I loved going in there as a kid. Buying
Is it
candy.
still there?
Sadly, the building is, but the business is.
Uh-oh.
They finally got bought out by Osco Drug.
Like Jewel Osco.
Yeah, Jewel Osco
Oh,
bought out
really?
their pharmacy aspect of the business, so they just sold the whole thing to them.
We used to have a Jewel Osco right down the corner.
Yeah.
Then
So
it became Pick and Save, and then it disappeared. So
I was hired at age 15. I was making $4.15 an hour. My paychecks were pitiful.
But as a 15-year-old poos,
I was like, wow, I finally have money of my own.
yeah.
They hired me, and I was trained on backroom receiving.
Aw.
A
Did you do a good
15-year-old
job?
kid. I think I did. I was given every time we would get shipments, I would get all the sheets, and I would have to highlight everything to make sure we actually got what they said they sent us. And even to this day, you still don't always get that.
No.
Sometimes you.
I think it's gotten worse.
Yeah, especially for us at Walmart. Anyway, and then once I was in with that, I would man the front register.
Front register poos. So you were
Sometimes
guarding the money.
Sometimes I would man the post office register. I would have to sell stamps, take people's mail.
And take people's money.
Yep, take people's money. And then I would loaf on all of it. As a 15-year-old poos. I think I was finally let go.
Was this during the same summer?
Yeah. I think I worked for 3 months, and then they had to let me go.
So wait, so they fired you?
Yeah.
For what reason?
I don't even remember. Probably coming up short on change in the register.
Oh.
This is what you get for hiring a 15-year-old.
You're not and especially as their first job.
Yeah.
Actually, that's on them. That's on them
is.
for giving you a job of managing money.
Yeah.
A poos that is just.
I hated it. I hated being on the front register. I could stay in back all day,
Mm-hmm.
but being on the front register alone up there, it was horrible. And along with that, I was expected to stock stuff, so I kept running back and forth out to the aisles.
It's not very
and back.
efficient.
It was stupid on their part. It was basically a family business.
Okay. Well, then in that case, they knew that they couldn't piss money out any longer, so they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah.
But still, what did they expect when they give a 15-year-old something as important as counting money?
Yeah.
That's something I would have not given someone their first job, is to count money.
No.
In fact, I'd be more suspicious of them taking money. So.
You want to tell me what that's about? I don't know.
Condom balloon bus mascot. Yes. So
I was told to write this down last night.
yeah.
We went out.
So to celebrate Kurdan helping me with the car, because it was the only thing I needed to get done, and it was the only way that could get done. So we went together to a bar. This is it in Milwaukee. It's quite a nice bar, actually.
It is.
It's so late in the night. I'm just so out of energy. I just kind of sat down because normally Hoosk bedtime is 10, 10:30, 11, and we were up till midnight.
Same.
So for me, it was tired, but I still had fun regardless. And I had a Long Island iced tea. No, not iced tea. It was a Long Island tequila.
Well, tequila's in that Long Island
okay.
iced.
I don't know much about
They
drinks.
called it a
Blueberry raspberry.
yeah. He called it something.
I forget what, but it wasn't bad. It was definitely filled with alcohol. It was definitely mixed, but they used a lot of alcohol in it. Like, this is actually one of those good bars where they will give you nearly more alcohol than it is flavoring.
Yeah.
And even you taste it, it's like, whoa.
It was a lot.
I sipped on it, and I did okay, actually. I still taste the alcohol, but it also helps to have before you eat.
I mean, you definitely sipped it in a very slow pace, so
I never got buzzed.
Never.
It was.
Well, I'm sure
it
you
was
had,
nice.
I'm sure you had a mild buzz.
I had a mild buzz,
but you weren't like out of control.
And we were sitting at the bar counter, and I was looking at a jar full of condoms. And
I thought it was candy.
You thought it was candy because when they offered you the jar and say, "Oh, sure," you picked it up and like, "Oh, it's a condom. I'm going to sit on this." So I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I should just blow a condom up, tie it, and then put it on the mast antenna on my bus, and just drive around Milwaukee
That's right.
with a balloon condom on my bus. It'd be the most popular bus there is.
It'd be your mascot.
It'd be the mascot, the condom bus.
Yep.
It'd be the same shape, except the bus is a box, the condom is a tube.
How about Marsh Electronics sex ring operation?
Oh, okay. So more about my old job. So my good friend, the Torpedo, he is telling me some new information that I did not know, but it makes so much sense because the way how everyone interacts with each other, it's awkward and yet very, very close. Meaning the office workers and only the office workers, the sales team, they know each other almost too well. Yeah. So much so that they're banging each other. Literally everyone is having sex in the sales office department. They all know each other. So much so that there's a guy walking with...
They know each other inside and out.
Oh, you know it. And you know what's pathetic? Is that all these people are married. All these people are married, have kids and whatnot, and they're all banging each other like furries at a fur con. Except...
Good reference.
Except...
relatable content.
Fur con sex is a much more fun time than, did you get DigiKey paperwork sorted out? Ugh.
Relatable content.
Just watching old people. I'm talking people in their 60s and 70s still working in sales, and they're like grabbing ass on someone who is equally as old. It's like, you trying to get it on?
Slap ass.
Slap us. Slap us. No, you do not get to slap us. But all of these older people in this company, because they're all old, it's literally a dying company in the sense that their workers are on the verge of retiring and there's no one young to replace all of them. And yet, the whole office, they're all in on it. Yeah. They're all having sex with each other. This is incredible. It's pretty stupid, actually. Yeah. But you know what? The more that they talked about it, it actually makes more sense that they're all doing things to each other. And they're all hush-hush about it, too. So, yeah, it is pretty wild. So, yeah. So, there was an intersex ring at my old company. It's pretty dumb.
Sex foam color.
And you know who's the only one probably not getting any of the sex?
Ryan.
My old boss.
Mr. No Neck.
Mr. No Neck and Tic Tac Dick. Which me and my friend the Torpedo would then mock him by showing his dominance in the warehouse by compensating for a really, 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 really small Tic Tac. And his daddy, was it?
The fuckboy, you mean?
The fuckboy, Rich the bitch.
You can't give the fuckboy the power.
And you know what? His name is... Actually, I'm not even saying his name for now. But on old... which they are now finding today now, finally, because it's been 6 months. Actually, it's been longer than 6 months. They found all the documentation that I made at the old company. And any of the stuff coming into the factory must be categorized by salesperson or person of where it's going to and whatnot. And I decided to put down on any of Rich's mail items, boxes that come in. And I would put down Bitch Bresky on the paperwork itself. No shame. I just wrote it down like that because it's like, you know what? It is true. He is a bitch. He won't make eye contact with you. Like, I will give him the stare of 1,000 hoosks. And he will just like look at his phone and he'd walk away. That man spends more time on his phone now more than ever, apparently, than he actually does work. Oh, so apparently my old boss had COVID. So
didn't you have it a couple times?
No, this is the first time, amazingly.
Wow.
How he didn't get COVID at all in the last 2 years, I don't know, but he finally got it. Which apparently he had it bad. Of the 23 symptoms, he had 15.
Wow. Well done.
Well done.
Good job, Mr. Nodak.
So with that, some of the new guys are not really that good. Like, we are a shining star compared to a lot of the people that they're hiring now. Apparently, the poster child of the warehouse, a guy named Eric in shipping, which he's doing my old job. Apparently, he shows up whenever he wants to at work, sometimes an hour late, sometimes 90 minutes late. And the boss don't give a care, and he just like, oh, yeah, it's okay. He won't sign into the shipping system. He's the only one with shipping access, and he's doing it whenever he wants to, literally an hour or 90 minutes late in the day when he should be doing it right at the time of starting your day at 7:30. He won't start shipping till 9 o'clock, barely would sign in and whatnot. It's like, wow, man, Ryan is really letting this all go. He's really, really letting the company down.
He's trying to run the company into the ground.
Oh, I'm sure that's probably what's happening. I don't think the boss don't care either anyway. So intersex ring and department's as dysfunctional as it ever was. Nothing changed, but the dumpster fire I've created is still burning, which I'm just so happy.
How about your the thing your grandma wanted to do for you?
Oh, so my dad, while working on the car, gave me a phone call while I was arms deep in a dashboard, and he said that, hey, I kind of screwed the pooch. I kind of told Grandma that you're still planning on finding a house at some point next year. She found a house for you, and she's going to buy it for you on credit card. Oh my God. And she's going to put it in your name.
I mean, how much was the house selling for?
$164,000. However,
how can you put that on a credit card?
I have no idea. Multiple. Perhaps.
Oh God.
The number of credit cards my grandma has is innumerable. I don't know how many credit cards she has.
Isn't there a limit? Isn't there a limit to how many credit cards you can own?
No. The scary part is that it's the limit of each credit card. They can be as sky high.
I mean, I always know that, like, even South Park mentioned this. The correct number of credit cards to have is 2.
Yeah.
One that you're using, one that you keep on the side for backup.
Yep.
And don't touch.
Yep. That's pretty much.
That's just a rule of thumb, basically.
Yeah. And even South Park, a silly show, makes sense of that. And I only have 2 credit cards.
Yep.
I use it the same way. But my dad had the impression that she was going to buy the house immediately, whether if I had any input on it or not, which I did not know of any of this. She's like, "Hey, did Grandma tell you about this?" And I am totally out in the loop in this, so this is the first time I'm hearing this. And then I tell my dad what I'm doing and this and that, and he's like, "Wow, you're a lot more adventurous than I am." Like, when you have an old car, it's just more fun because everything is so simple. Mm-hmm. So after I get off the phone with him, I decided to call Grandma. I let her know. She had no intentions of actually buying the house outright. She just wanted to see it. She felt like it was a good deal for me, which $164,000 in a good neighborhood seemed okay. 2.5 car garage. But while it does sit on an acre of property, it's a 1-bedroom house. Small house. Which, okay, is great for me. But the problem is, I would like to have another room, unless it's got a basement. And that basement must be incredibly small too, which must not mean it's that functional. Which means I would never have guests over.
No.
I would never have either you over or a friend over or having a sleepover. Because adults need to normalize sleepovers because you know what? They're still fun.
Yeah.
2022 makes sleepovers
Great again.
as fun as it always has been when you visit your Aunt Mary. And trying to watch Night at the Roxbury, and she is totally not amused. My aunt did not like that movie one bit. She thought it was crude.
It sounds like your aunt.
And that movie was just perfect.
I mean, she was turning her nose up at SNL skit from like almost 20 years ago.
Really? And that was at the Christmas party.
Yeah. We were literally watching SNL skits from like the 1990s. And she was like, oh, no. I'm like,
yeah,
oh
she acts way too pious.
It's not pious, it's
Prudeness.
prude.
Yeah.
She's a bit of a prude.
She is totally a prude.
I like her, but
Totally prude.
Prude.
But I told Grandma, hey, I'm not interested in looking for a house, at least not yet. Maybe in the fall, but totally in the spring, I definitely want to start looking and, making a jump on it. Because I kind of want to make a goal. I'm 28 currently right now. I got nearly a little over 18 months or so. But I want to actually be a homeowner by the time I'm 30. I feel like that's a reasonable goal. It gives me enough time to save, gives me enough time to know what's going on in the market, and just to kind of look around. Hell, if I can find a foreclosed home in my dad's area, if I can buy it for cheap and he helps me fix it with me, I get a decently sized...
I would help.
Aw, the poos would help.
I'm very handy.
Yes, you very are with like housework. You are. I don't know nothing about house maintenance, so I could use as much help as I could get.
Especially in the shower, bath area.
Right.
Plumbing in general.
My dad's very good with more structure and such like that, so.
Yeah.
But he's pretty knowledgeable. Actually, my dad's quite knowledgeable on a lot of things.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But it is nice to have more help.
For that, for sure.
But yes, my grandma almost bought me a house. I bless her heart because I know that she's thinking of me. I genuinely appreciate it. Just now is not the right time. In a year, yes. Oh, yes. You find a house that's perfect for me. You know what?
I wouldn't let her do it. I would help pay for it. I wouldn't want to see her put herself.
Oh, no. I intend on putting the mortgage on me. But if she wants to throw money at me to help pay for the house, I'm not going to force her because she's her own.
I wouldn't let her burden the whole cost.
No.
Like she wanted to do.
Right. No.
That's just not right.
Right. It's well appreciated, but I don't know what would happen if she were to pass on with those credit cards. Who would they default to? My grandfather.
And if not your grandfather, then your dad and his brother.
Yeah, and actually so really it becomes a mess. I would rather have it mortgaged under my name with a down payment. If my grandma, she's a very generous person, she has a heart of gold. So much so she will buy me a house on credit cards. But I tell her, I can't force you, but if you really, really want to help me, I'm more than glad to get that help from you. But let us talk in about 10 months' time, see where the market is, and then discuss from there what I can look at. Because by then I'll be in much more better financial shape with the down payment that I would not have to worry about that so much. Because really, I think in the state of Wisconsin, you need $6,000. You need $6,000 to make a down payment on anything in the state.
Probably.
Granted, you need good credit, but you got good credit, you got $6,000. You can file for Wisconsin First Home Owners Grant, which might also give you some few $1,000s. There's a furry that lived in that, I don't know, I haven't spoken to him in years. I don't even know if he's living in the state, but 18 years old, got kicked out of his folks, applied for, saved no money whatsoever. 18 years old, fresh out of high school, got $8,000 from the Wisconsin First Homeowners Grant for the purchase of any house that he found. Just because in Wisconsin, no one's buying homes anymore. Everyone's renting, which housing market's hurting because they could really use people who would stay long-term in a house just to own it so that the banks don't have to keep worrying about it, because eventually it becomes property that becomes business, and then it's just not fun.
I have something else.
Is is there a state that has housing that's cheap to afford?
Yeah.
I would say, not that I'm biased, I would say the Midwest, namely Indiana. Indiana is probably the cheapest place you could probably live in the north half of the state. I think the cheapest in the south half of the state is probably Mississippi, but I knew wait, is that Mississippi or Alabama? I knew a friend who moved from Chicago down to Mobile. I think that's Alabama. Anyway, they didn't get a warm reception down there, even if, things were cheap down there. They weren't welcomed right away, and they moved back to Chicago because apparently some people in some communities don't take kindly to outsiders, which I don't know why. The Midwest is pretty chill, pretty friendly.
So here's my thing with housing costs. It's not just the states that determine the costs.
It's localities.
It's localities.
And the city hall.
It's how close you are to major metropolis areas.
Yep.
The closer you are to like Chicago or
Milwaukee or Madison, the more expensive it gets, which
you get out in the middle of nowhere,
it becomes cheap. But now you're going to be traveling a long ways to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether if it's for groceries, gas, any kind of utilities, any sort of job perhaps, or just visiting, you're going to be driving a bit further.
I mean, this has all been very well thought out.
Oh, yeah.
So that if your cost of your house is cheaper, everything else is going to be more expensive.
Right.
So it somehow all kind of balances out.
I would like to be 20, 25 minutes away from city center of Milwaukee. To me, that's far away from the center of Milwaukee to be considered away from Milwaukee and have a good size property that's not so close to each other, because I lived in West Dallas, a suburb of Milwaukee, and the houses are only 3-4 feet apart. Very, very small backyard, non-existent front yard. You just get the street. It's a duplex, so you're living below or above someone. We were the only house on the street that had a duplex that was converted into a single home. Quite rare back then. But I would say you want to find a state with affordable housing. If you don't mind the commute to where you need to go, any state outside of the city, you might actually find some really good homes in the outskirts of cities and further. You'll find some really beautiful properties that won't cost that much. In theory, I'm not sure. I know properties in Colorado are insane because everyone's moving to Colorado. Every furry that is known to man is moving to Colorado. And now they're paying absorbent amount of money for renting a condo in the city, in a building. The cost of a condo is what you can afford a very, very modest, quite well done house in Ohio. But furries like to be where the action is. So not Chicago, but or even Aurora, Colorado. Another Aurora. But I think Aurora, Colorado is more expensive than Aurora, Illinois. And I believe that.
Yeah.
Because right now it's the hottest place to be. I honestly like Wisconsin because you know what? Costs up here a little bit less than the average. It's gone up a bit. Compared to other places, it's not bad.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin's such a condensed state, at least in the central southern half of the state, you could get anywhere in an hour. You'll be anywhere in the state in an hour. Unless you're in the central part, then you can go anywhere for an hour and you're still in the middle of nowhere. But if you're in the southern part of the state, you go anywhere for an hour, you'll find a city somewhere. It's like the Voyager probes in space. It'll eventually hit something. But yeah, I would say outskirts of cities, further a bit out. I would say 30 minutes away from city center to 40 minutes away from city center. You'll find a good place. It won't cost that much. I haven't done too much research on it, but what I've noticed around here, further away you get from a city, it's kind of typical.
Only other thing I suggest, if you do want to live in a more populated area where it's, where the action is and everything, and you're close to, events, anime conventions, furry conventions, not like downtown proper exactly, but, adjacent,
right.
is to find someone who is a trustworthy roommate.
You definitely want to find roommates in the city because you can't afford anything alone in the city unless you make good money, which I know only a very few small number of furry who could afford anything that they could probably put rent on. The majority of us, that's pretty hard for us to do alone.
Like, I think we could do it.
Not in Chicago.
We need a third body.
We need 4 or 5 in Chicago. Things are so expensive in Chicago.
Not if we lived in a hole in the wall.
Just simply the hole?
Yeah, there's a lot of really small apartments. I've been in one. Hardly livable.
Small is not.
Talk about privacy is
not
next to.
Oh no! I think it's just a one room. Literally,
it would literally be this room and your bedroom, and that's the whole apartment.
You could do that if you don't have any stuff. You don't plan on owning a car.
You know how much rent that still is?
$1,200.
More.
Okay, that's disgusting.
I'd say more like $1,400, $1,500, $1,600.
That's disgusting. You could get a lot more in Wisconsin for that. As a renter, you can get more than that in Wisconsin. Like in New Berlin, the average rent is about $1,600. It's a little bit more or about the same. You get 2 or 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
But the idea is that you're meant to, share it. Or if you have a family, then there we go.
Right.
In Chicago, for that small of a hovel, oh no, that's a 1-room apartment, and you're going to be sharing it with 3 other people. Yeah. That's not worth it at all. I'm sorry. No,
it's not.
I am a city boy, but I don't like living in the city. If that makes sense.
No.
I don't mind being where the action is, so as long as I don't have to live almost directly in it, because
you're a city hoosk.
I'm a city hoosk, but I like living outside the city. It's just, to me, it's just nicer.
More room for zoomies.
More hoosk zoomies. So, yes. So, yeah, my grandma almost bought me a house. It's well thought of, but I'm not even in the picture. And if it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, I can imagine it's going to be small. I understand it's a good starter home, but I want to move once. I want to move into a home where I can feel comfortable, pay it off. Not ever have to think about moving again.
I've moved 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
I've only moved once.
I've moved 4 times.
And that's still pretty low considering these days.
Yeah.
Knowing how some furries move every year. There's some furries that move at least once a year to just change scenery. Sure, if you're able to do that, but you're not going to keep the same job each time. And
4 times.
All right. What's the next subject?
I had a thought.
Yes.
Because I finally saw the new Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do spoilers because it's not fair.
But it has been out for a few weeks.
It has. I started running into a few like skirting spoilers, so I finally said, screw it, I have to see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I was thinking about, I talked to you about briefly, because you have similar type hair to the special being that is Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
He has very curly, wavy, not super curly, but loose curly and wavy hair. His hair is perfect. And I got to thinking about whoever I'm sure that he has a team of stylists that,
on set or just in general?
Just, no, on set. They work on him, between shots. As, all movie stars do in movies, they basically keep track of hair for continuity reasons so that, from one shot to the next, it's progressive.
Seamless.
It's seamless. You can't see all of a sudden, his hair was parted this way, and all of a sudden now it's parted that way.
Or in small details, a little bit of something went whoop.
Yeah.
So they're going to try to keep that fleek throughout the whole series until the hair gets messed up again or something.
Right. Good, really good movie groups.
The Marvel movies have been fantastic.
Pay attention to all those little details, which make it even more special.
I'm not that knowledgeable about superheroes, but I do like superhero movies. But Marvel has been really, and I'm not like a fan of either one, like Marvel and then DC.
Yeah.
I think that are both pretty cool because I just like movies. But I think they're really doing incredibly well, like doing those types of movies and tying them all together, which is just mind blowing.
That was one thing I was thinking about. And I'll come back to his stylist because I was just thinking about that too. I was thinking about the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Oh, Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt and all those guys. The one thing they kept doing at the end of those movies was they would cut to
the next movie.
No, they would cut to the teasers.
Oh yeah.
9 times out of 10, for all those and a lot of other Avenger movies, it was Benicio del Toro as the Collector. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there was even a scene where it's him and Howard the Duck. They never, as far as I recall, they've never really touched on that again. And I know there's in the comic books that are based around the whole Infinity Wars series that I used to own. I own the original Infinity Wars. Got ruined in a flood, sadly. Boo-hoo. Oh well. I believe there was a comic book, at least one, maybe a small series of comics just based around the Collector and all the things and people.
Is he a bad guy?
I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm just waiting for them to
do something about that.
Swing back around to that again, because it was coming up as a very important detail at the end of a lot of those movies.
And that was volume 2, right?
Yeah.
And they have not done a volume 3, so
no. And I would like to see another Guardians as well.
That would be cool.
I love those movies. I love Chris Pratt in them.
I think he actually re-energized and rethought the way how these movies were going to be done, just because Chris Pratt and his character, he's always kind of a kooky, interesting character anyway. That
sure.
He's kind of like a modern Robin Williams, where he's kind of doing his own thing while sticking to a script.
Yeah.
Even though Robin Williams never followed a script.
He definitely makes it his own, which is super important for any actor. And when they're given lines to read,
right,
and they don't do it the way it was intended when it was written,
right,
but they definitely make it feel natural and seamless,
right,
and it doesn't seem acted. It just seems this is how it is, period. But what I was thinking about with Tom Holland and his special being personal hairstylist, as I have written here, was just. What was my point? I had a point.
You want to talk about his hair?
Yeah. I had a point to it. I've lost it.
Aw. Seeing the third Guardians. Yep. I am too, because it's just a good series.
Yeah.
Like, when you see a Sony Walkman in the very first scene, and a tape and a mixtape, you know what? That's going to go back to a older generation of, millennials.
Yep.
And I think a lot of them got on board with that pretty quickly. So much so that model of Sony Walkman, I think it's the first one, have now gone up in cost by like triple because of that. Because of that franchise. So much so that they're faking them.
Yeah.
They're faking them as like making cosplaying props of replicas that sort of work but aren't functional. But, buttons that work and things that slide, and, you can put a cassette tape in it, but it doesn't really work because otherwise you're buying an original.
Yeah.
But
anyway, I was just thinking about the whole continuity issues that some TV shows and movies have. So whoever does his hair does fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do that someday.
You probably should look into that.
Yeah.
That'd be a good future, is to, because you have an eye for detail.
Yeah.
Also the music.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, the selection
fantastic.
of music on those mixtapes are just amazing.
Yeah, in that movie, the soundtrack was so good.
Because it's supposed to take place initially in like the 1980s when, you know, Chris Pratt, the love child. No, it's not the
Star-Lord.
Yeah, when he gets abducted. It's taking place in the 1980s, so really it's based on the music of back then. There's a lot of good music back then.
Yeah,
honestly,
sure
it's just really nice to hear it, especially in a modern movie.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of good modern music, but it all kind of sounds the same. Especially if it's got a clap track.
sometimes.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say about today's music that I do like is there's such a huge, wide variety.
I do like the variety, especially of vaporwave and synthwave stuff. That I can appreciate because it's just something different.
Yep, me too.
It's just the clap track stuff of today's top 40 doesn't really interest me, but a lot of the more modern stuff that never existed back then, like vaporwave and synthwave, it's pretty awesome stuff. It's good. It's good driving tunes.
Definitely. I want to start cleaning up.
And what is that? It for stuff?
That's it for my list of things. We went through literally everything.
I can't think of anything else here.
Just want to harken back to old things like blood farts and neckbeards.
I'm not sure if we ever talked about.
We did. The next thing.
What did Sylvester do on Wednesday?
I don't remember. I was reading that too. I don't know.
That one's a dangerous one.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous
Don't
one
even
right
remind me.
Yeah. Well, actually, considering it's been a few weeks, it's a good episode. We talked quite a lot about stuff. You saw who's getting groomed.
Yeah.
My floofs. So with that, I think this is a good time to probably wrap things up.
Yeah. I think so.
Also, too, just a reminder, if First Square does happen, which I hope it does, we'll be doing our very first LiveCast, live with an audience, actual audience of the Zooming Hoosk Podcast. And if you're local and you know, hello, Adrian. If you know you're going to First Squared, say hello. We'll be doing this crazy, stupid podcast. And it'll be fun. We already got a few other co-hosts who will be up on stage with us. My friend Aquila, or Squirrel, a really, really long time friend of mine, which I've been wanting to have him on the show with his girlfriend. It's just, timing and such like that. They also had COVID in the past month, so they're getting over that too. So, just trying to plan things just when things kind of work out. But yeah, so First Squared, very first time, which I was hoping to do that actually not last year because no cons happened last year and we only went to MFF and never really had a chance to submit a panel for that. But since First Squared's coming up, because we like First Squared, hey, come to First Squared in Brookfield, Wisconsin. And you'll get to see this show live. I did put us down for an hour and a half for the show. Okay. Just in case if we go a bit longer than an hour, things, kind of like get cool and such like that. I'm sure it set up time too, but and it may be at night. It might be on Saturday night. I'm not sure. It might be on Friday or Saturday night. I'm actually not sure which, but we'll find out. So
okay.
Anyway, we'll hopefully maybe do another one this Thursday or next weekend. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Zooming Hoosk Podcast. And once again, I'm your host, Dustin.
I'm Barber Kurdan, Sourpuss.
He does good haircuts, so You want to get your hair cut? Call Kurdan. All right. Thank you for tuning in for this episode. It's been a little while. Glad that you're able to make it. I got prettier. And we'll see you next time for the next episode. Let's see. All right, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you next time. There we go.